I'm Natalie McCool and welcome to my podcast McCool and the Gang. This is a special series of episodes where I'll be chatting to female artist producers about music production. The reason for this special series is that earlier this year I was awarded an Arts Council grant to develop my own music production. As an artist, I've always had a vision for my music, and when it comes to the production, it's something that I've always been heavily involved with. And most recently, I 100% recorded, produced, and mixed 2 tracks from my recent album, Memory Girl, something which I'm incredibly proud of. Now I've got the opportunity to really lean into that. As part of this podcast, I decided to speak to other female artists who also produce their own music to explore what inspires them and how they work. This episode, I'm really excited to welcome the ace, Sophie Ackroyd. Sophie is a London-based songwriter and producer specialising in pop music. With millions of streams under her belt, her production and songwriting is featured on official Spotify playlists, including New Music Friday and Fresh Finds. Here's a very refreshing chat about Sophie's own journey coming through as an engineer at Spotify's Secret Genius studio to producing her own sample pack for Splice and her favourite sounds and plugins when she's working with so many exciting new artists. Here we go.
I think you're a magnet, and I'm a magnet too. People just attract like magnets, like me and you. And when we both take
Welcome to McCool and the Gang, and this month's guest is Sophie Ackroyd. Woohoo! So I literally saw you like 2 weeks ago or like last week or something. I can't remember.
It hasn't been long, has it?
It's not been long. So I was shadowing Sophie in the studio, everyone, learning more about production because she's an absolute beast on the old Logic, and learned a lot. So I asked her to be on my podcast, and here we are. So
Thanks
thank
for
you so
having me.
much. Thank you so much. So we're just going to have a bit of a ramble chat, as Adam Buxton says, and chat about shit. Production and projects and whatever you want, really.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So why don't you run us through what you've been up to lately? Because I know that you've done something exciting, like, am I allowed to say the Splice thing?
Oh, it's not out yet, but I don't think it's like on the wraps.
Under wraps. Yeah, so you did a Splice pack.
But yeah, I've just finished my first sample pack.
Woo!
And that's with 91 Vocals, which is a label on Splice, through my friend Kate. And yeah, it was really fun. I had to make like hundreds of different sounds and vocal stuff, and I did a few synth stuff, and it was like around a theme. So that should be coming out in 2022.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm waiting for it to be signed off and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a bit nervous they're going to turn around and be like, it's all wrong.
They will not, because I heard it and it was bloody awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited for that. It's my first kind of like dipping my toe into making samples and stuff, and it's really fun.
Yeah. Did you, because I know like when you're working with vocal based stuff, sometimes when you listen like to your own voice a lot, you kind of feel like you're going insane.
I actually really hate my own voice anyway. I like never vocal my own stuff. So it was a good process for me to kind of get used to that, because I just tune it a lot until it's like unrecognizable, and then I'm sort of okay with it.
Yeah, roboty. I love a good. I've been experimenting with like vocoders recently. It's so much fun.
I love a vocoder.
Yeah. Oh, I know you love a vocoder. I've seen you.
On everything.
Oh, that's so cool though. That is really amazing.
Yeah, it was a really fun project, and definitely something I want to do more of in the future. So yeah, and I think what I'm really looking forward to is like hearing what other people use samples for. I think that's really interesting. Yeah.
Do you get like a info sheet on who's used it then from Splice?
No, I don't know. I don't think they can track that.
Yeah.
But it's more like if you hear a tune and you recognise.
Yeah.
Because I know that Kate has done so much of that, and there's like huge tunes with her vocals on. So yeah.
Brilliant.
Who knows?
I'm going to use them. I'm gonna send you one and be like, I use this, yay.
I found the vocal stuff was quite easy. Not easy,
Yeah.
but like you just sing and then that is a new sample. But to make like synth sounds and drums, obviously
from your
like,
voice.
Doesn't have to be from your voice, but like
Okay.
just from not an existing sample was like quite a new process for me, because I realised I use a lot of sample instruments in my kind of process, and obviously they're not allowed because they're already samples that exist and are copyrighted. So yeah, it had to all be brand new.
Yeah. That's cool though. New frontiers.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I definitely want to try and like use more original sounds as well, like building it from scratch. But obviously it takes
longer.
way quicker to just drop something in.
I know. When I'm doing this library stuff, like you're not allowed to use any samples, and
Yeah.
it took me so
Yeah.
long.
That is long.
Well, I don't have Splice anyway. I'm gonna get it, but because I didn't need to have it because I was doing that. But for other things that I'm doing now, I'm just gonna get it. But
It is an
so
amazing
simple.
tool. I'm
Yeah.
a big fan.
Yeah, absolutely. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I love the way when you played me your track that you compiled with all the different samples to showcase it. I thought that was amazing. Like,
Yeah, I think I had the most fun actually you have to make a sort of mixtape type thing to showcase. And it was quite a fun little challenge because they're all different BPMs and keys. So like transitioning between them was really, really fun. Yeah.
yeah, that was really cool. That was like so creative and fun. I was listening
and
to
you
it,
never
like,
really get to do that. Like, because obviously you just produce single songs most of the time.
yeah,
And I don't DJ, so that was quite new to me.
yeah.
I think DJs do that a lot, obviously, like kind of matching tempos and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolute art, isn't it? I realised that when I was shadowing you, it was very like, come in the studio and we're doing this, and then like, here's how you do this. But I didn't get to ask you anything about your own like background or like how you got started doing production and you know, doing this Arts Council project. Like I've asked everyone, and everyone's had like very different like journeys. So I just wondered, how did you get into the production side of music?
So I was quite, it took me a while to come around to it, because I started out and I just wanted to be a songwriter, because that's like my first love, and I just wanted to write tunes, but I'm not an artist, and I quickly discovered that you go nowhere fast if you're a songwriter and you can't produce and you're not an artist. Like, how do you get those songs like shown to people?
Yeah.
It's very, very challenging. So I started to just demo my own stuff, and that's kind of where it began.
Yeah.
And then I got a job in a studio, as the kind of, I was sort of the only member of staff really. I was a tea lady / studio manager person.
Was that in London?
Yeah, I was quite lucky actually. It was good timing because I had no experience. And then people in that studio sort of showed me a few tricks, and then I got into engineering, I guess, and assisting on sessions, and that became like, it was always my side thing, because songwriting and producing, like, I've always aimed to make that my main thing, but for a long time, like, engineering and studio work was like my main income.
Yeah.
And I worked at Red Bull Studios, and then I worked at Spotify's studio, and it's a really good way to learn like the craft of recording.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then that's I guess that's my background, like coming from an engineering background.
Yeah.
And then since the pandemic, I haven't done any of that because the studio's shut. And also, I said to myself, I was like, I'm gonna like focus on the production.
Yeah.
Just before the pandemic, I was like, when my Spotify job ends, I'll I won't do any more engineering.
Yeah.
And that kind of got decided for me because
Yeah.
everyone was at home. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's quite a long-ish winded way, but that's sort of how I ended up doing production and learning production. I'm just entirely self-taught, really, but I learned the craft of recording and engineering
Yeah.
in studios on the job.
That's really cool. That is must give you a lot of insight in all technical stuff, which I feel that maybe some producers lack a little bit. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing is, you don't need to know everything about recording. You probably the roles are definitely less separated than they used to be because there isn't really the money anymore to have an engineer and a producer and an assistant a lot of the time. And yeah, so now I do try and make recording the best possible quality that I can, and I think that does make a big difference to how stuff sounds. But then also weirdly, a lot of the time I'll record something immaculately, and then I'll just spend ages trying to make it sound really, really lo-fi, which kind of defeats the point. But yeah, it is good to have that knowledge, and also, it's kind of good. It kind of equips you to walk into any situation or studio and kind of have a handle on at least how to troubleshoot stuff if stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Defo. That's cool. Was there one person... In fact, I've got a better question. Have you always been into music since teenage years then, school and things, or was that an extracurricular thing for you?
I have always been musical, definitely. I learnt the piano from a young age, and I was more classical as a kid and growing up in teenage years. My dad is a really sick keys player.
Yeah, you're really good on keys, I noticed.
My dad had a piano shop when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And he's amazing. He can he plays by ear, and he can just listen to a song on the radio and he plays it.
That's cool.
I think it's something about but because of that, he was I want my daughter to learn the proper way.
Yeah.
So I learned how to read sheet music.
Yeah.
Which I can do, but it's not all that helpful in pop world because nobody comes in with a piece of sheet music and here's my song. So the ear training stuff I kind of learned later. But yeah, it's definitely a good kind of groundwork. But yeah, I also did classical singing, which is a weird thing now to think back on. But
yeah. Was that all sight reading as well?
Yeah, I did a lot of I was in choirs and that sort of thing. Yeah.
It all trains your ear though, singing in harmony in choirs.
Yeah, I do.
Wish I'd had a lot of that when I was a kid. In fact, yeah, I'd loved it. I was in school choir. We didn't do harmonies as such because we were only kids. Little.
There's something
primary
really
school kids.
Soul nourishing about singing in a choir. I don't know what it is. I haven't done it in so long either because it takes rehearsals.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
No, got time for that. I would honestly love to be in a choir again, any choir. But because when I moved to London, I was like, this is the time for choirs. But COVID is really it's not cool. Yeah. But I'm still on the lookout.
Singing in groups.
Yeah.
I did join a choir briefly when I moved to London, but it was 2 rehearsals a week.
It's too much,
It's too much. Because I was in one at university that I absolutely loved because you just rocked up on Sunday. You used to sing Sunday service.
Yeah.
And you could show up hungover. And everyone was quite a high standard. So you just sight read the whole thing. And then it sounded great.
Yeah.
And that's not what most choirs do.
Yeah.
What, you mean I can't show up still a bit drunk and
just sing?
Do this whole thing?
Got to have a Dropbox folder and pre-prepared tracks.
Maybe it's something I'll do when I retire. It is quite an old person thing to do, isn't it? Sing in a choir.
Yeah. Well, I think I think, I don't know, I love choirs. Like when I was living in Liverpool, the singing teacher at my my university I went to, she ran a choir, but it was like a jazz kind of gospel choir.
Oh, nice.
It was amazing, like, you know.
Oh, wow.
Just mad harmonies, just weird, which is
Love
totally what I'm into.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah, it was great. But obviously, yeah, just couldn't do it anymore. I've still got the voice notes and I listen just like, oh, so good. It was great. No, definitely need to join a choir again. Was there like one person, I suppose you just said your dad, but regarding like more of the technical production side, was there one person who said, hey Sophie, why don't you do this?
Yeah, there's quite a few people in my first studio. There was, in particular, there was a producer called Peter Vitesi. He's a legend. And it was my job to bring him a coffee every morning, but in exchange he would give me a half an hour chat.
That's great.
Sometimes about music, a lot of the time about, I don't know, philosophy, science.
Sounds like a dude.
He was very encouraging, and I think it's really great to... I mean, I think a lot of people seek out, like, really want a mentor and seek one out. And I have been lucky that there have been people along the way in studios that have really helped me. But actually, I think people put a lot of pressure on that sometimes. Like, I must have a mentor, otherwise I can't succeed. And I think you can kind of just make your own mentors, and like, even if you've never met somebody, like, just find everything about what Max Martin's done.
Yeah.
And how he got to where he is and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it definitely, like, I think being in, like, learning in a studio environment, there are always a lot of people around to help out, especially when I started doing more techie engineering stuff. There were some sick people at Red Bull that really helped me, and still support, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's super cool. What's been your favourite kind of project that you've worked on then recently?
That's a really hard question.
What not favourite, like a particularly fun
I can't have
one.
favourites.
I like a fun one.
There's an artist called Leo that I absolutely love working with. Like, it's always fun working with her. It's just always a good time.
Why is it fun?
It's just like, the session never feels like there's any stress. It's always just like a laugh. I think, and also like the people that I consider my friends and I make music with them, like, those are always the best sessions. Like, and it's most of the time that is what happens, because you write a song and you spill your guts and like, share a lot of details about your life, and it's quite hard not to become friends if you do regular sessions with people like that. So I'd say, like, those are the sessions that I enjoy the most.
Is there any like particular plugins or sounds at the minute that you're just like obsessed with and you just want to put on everything? You know, you discover a plugin and you're like, oh my god.
I mean, it's not even that new to me, but I use RC20 on everything.
RC20. Is that you did the tape thing? No.
Yeah, it's like it does like 5 different things. It adds noise, it adds distortion.
You use it,
yeah. And if ever there's something that's a bit too boring sounding, I just put that on and play around with it until it sounds a bit more interesting. So yeah, that is currently my favourite plugin of the moment. It's funny how you often have phases, because if I go back to old projects, I'm like, oh, that's something that I used to use all the time.
Yeah. That's a good point, yeah. And then you feel like you've kind of, like, you've learned a lot since then and you've moved on, but then actually you listen back to it and you're like, that's actually really cool.
Yeah.
I might go back to that. Yeah. Black Friday's come and gone though, so.
It has. This is probably the first year I didn't really get anything over Black Friday.
It's tempting to just go insane, isn't it, with everything? And
there was a few things I was tempted by, but I'm pretty happy with where I'm at the moment in terms of plugins.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I feel like I need to get to grips with what I've actually got.
There's also that, yeah. So much I don't use.
Yeah, I haven't at all. Still don't know how to navigate Contact. I'm getting better. Oh yeah,
have you dug into, because you got the whole bundle, didn't you?
I got the full shebang. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I did take a look through, from top to bottom and kind of, what does that do? And it is really, really great. Like, God, it's really revolutionised my production and recording.
Yeah, the Contact libraries are really great. I remember when I first got those, it just opened up a whole world.
The strings and the even the battery, just completely.
Yes, I love battery. Even I actually, just as a sampler, it's absolutely sick. Like, so easy to use.
Yes, and thanks for the tip on, putting them on different notes and then you drag the MIDI. That was
I use battery a lot just to to put in sounds and audition them and
auditioning sounds. Yeah, it's good for that. I've started doing that because I previously didn't. Yeah, I was thinking about getting sound toys, but I didn't in the end because I was like,
that's the one I got last year, actually.
Yeah,
and I do use it a lot. It is great, but I feel like if you got the Contact one this year, then that's probably
it's enough, isn't it?
That would do me.
Just calm down. I mean, I got Waves and Contact.
Then
in 1 year. I'm made.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's great. But I mean, I do miss, Little Altar Boy and Pan Man and
great.
Crystallizer. Just having, use them with other people and just hearing what they can do. I'm just like, I'd love to have them. But next year. I'll do next year.
They always do the same sale every year.
They do, yeah. So you can rely on that at least, yeah. Yeah. Do you do kind of any? Here's an interesting question. Do you do remixes? Have you ever worked on reworks or remixes?
No, I actually have never done a remix.
Would you like to though?
I'm not opposed to that. Maybe. I've only just really started doing, I guess, dance music. And it's quite fun to make. It feels quite, I mean, I probably don't fully eat, breathe dance music enough to fully appreciate or understand it. But to me, it seems quite repetitive. So I feel like it would be fun to take a song and rethink it in a way that is danceable too.
Or even not, Jamie Exeter.
Or just reimagining it. Yeah, that could be fun. Yeah, but actually, I mean, because when you say remix, I usually think of dance, but actually, remix can sometimes just be like a reproduction, essentially.
Yeah, rework is probably a better word for what I'm describing. A rework, yeah. Because I remember, because I always used to think a remix would be something that more dance, but actually when I was one of my earliest singles, someone from another band, and they weren't a dance band, they were kind of indie kind of pop rock band, he reworked it and I absolutely loved it. Never imagined it like that.
Hear it through someone else's brain.
Yeah, that's the beauty of collaboration, but remote, because you've done it and then they've just I guess it's the same with covers as well. When people really reimagine a cover, it's amazing.
I've never really thought of it that way, but I think that is quite appealing to me, because if someone comes to you for a remix, they're not really it's very different to if someone's coming for production, because if they're coming for production, they probably want a specific thing that's in their head. But if they want a remix, they're basically saying, I want you to do your thing.
Yeah.
So totally would love to do that.
Yeah. Do you think you'd get an artist name, a rework name?
Yeah, that's something I dabbled with in the past. I made up this like stupid other producer name but I didn't like. I'm not really about being an artist or a front person in any way. So, so that's maybe why no one's asked me to do a remix. Because, like, yeah, I feel like it would be that feels strange to me to put like, I don't know, to put my name on stuff when I'm mostly behind the scenes.
Yeah,
But
I
maybe
get
one
you.
day. Also, I feel like Sophie Ackroyd isn't really like a. I don't know. I feel like I would need to make up an alias or something, which could be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I like aliases. I never used to kind of think that I would use them, but I guess that when you're doing different projects, you absolutely have to, because otherwise it's confusing.
I think I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but I would like to start an alias for some of the stuff that I do, because sometimes, like, there's some random songs that I have a Spotify profile for, and like, it's not good. Like, I don't want that on Spotify, so I think I need to make.
Yeah. I do it. I do like when I've done, I don't know what that would be. Top line vocals, I've done it under an alias name, which I really enjoy. But the thing is, though, I have like a Instagram and Facebook account for that alias, but people still find me and like message me on my account. I'm like,
and then the other thing is, do you make a profile and like stuff like that for your alias, or is it just?
I have done, yeah.
It's just a whole admin.
The admin
kind
thing,
of worms that I don't want to open.
Yeah. I get you. I hear you. If you were, here's a good creative question. Like, if you were to do a remix, but you were only presented with the vocals and you hadn't heard the original song, so you've only got the vocals.
The best way to get it, because actually, it's quite hard if you already know something really well to reimagine it. But I think that's probably what I would do if I got a remix. Is I would just solo the vocals and see what I would do with that.
Yeah. What would be the first thing you would do then to make it, just to spark your own ideas,
some
make
chords,
it interesting?
Probably. What would be really interesting is if you started from that point and then see how it compares to the original. If you didn't know that, like, what if you just came up with the same thing?
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, that's how I usually kind of go about stuff. Chords first.
I don't even think I'd put chords. I'd probably like just put loads of reverb on it and make. I don't even know.
Imagine if someone comes to you for a remix and you just put reverb on the vocal, and you're like, "Here you are."
Here you are. You know what? Okay. That is so funny. I've just said that because I think I know why I've just said that, because I've been listening to Earth Eater all day, who's an artist that I absolutely love at the moment. And she,
good artist name.
Earth Eater, yeah, she remixed her own EP, and
that's cool.
all she did was like reverse the reverb of the vocal.
Oh, okay.
And I think what she did is put reverb on all the tracks, and then reverse that reverb and then put it out as it. But it sounds amazing. It actually sounds so amazing. Yeah, it's like she called it like the the way the French call the orgasm a little death. What's the name? Like Le Petit Mort.
Yeah, Le Petit Mort.
Yeah. So it's like Le Petit Mort remix, which I love.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
But she's amazing. Like, yeah, if you haven't listened to her, she's like, I discovered her actually through my last guest, who's Object Blue, who's like a techno DJ, but she sent me her tracks to put on the radio show, and one of them was an Earth Eater track. And this girl, she's like, Earth Eater, she's got like 3-octave range, and the music is... Yeah, she like, her music is like a weird mix of like folk, experimental, like dance techno. It's like insane. And And then her voice, a lot of her voice and vocal melodies sounded like war paint. So
Oh, cool.
she's just awesome. And yeah, recent discovery. But I think she's really like creative, and she's just, you know, those artists that seem to carve out a little niche just for themselves, and they just occupy that little niche. No one else is kind of like there. So yeah, that was a big discovery for me. That was really
Cool.
enjoyed that.
I have to check it out.
Check it out. There's a song called Below the Clavicle was one of their songs.
I absolutely love the artist's name and also that title.
Below the Clavicle, yeah.
That's great.
It's very scientific. So there's that one, Below the Clavicle. And then another one is Super Soaker, which is a horrific name for a song. But it's an amazing song. And it's about what you can imagine. But she's awesome. Like, she's just unafraid, you know, fearless people. She's one of them. So yeah.
Sick.
Yeah. If you could collaborate on a project with anyone, any being, who would it be?
I would love to collaborate with... I actually had a dream that I was writing a song with Haim.
Ooh, that's
so I hope
good
like
dream.
an actual dream. In the dream, it was I can't really remember it now, but it was a little like the dynamics were a bit off between the band, and I was trying to navigate that.
God.
But anyway, this is just my pure asleep fantasy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to work with Haim, Muna. That would be really fun.
Muna. I think I've heard of her before. She's a solo artist, right?
Band.
Oh, maybe I
I
haven't.
think.
Cool.
Yeah,
Muna.
I think also 3 girls.
Okay.
I think I got that right.
Nice.
But yeah, they're sick. Yeah, I would actually love to work. I haven't really done much work with bands, like mostly solo artists I work with. So that would be something that I would love to do.
Yes. Do you think that would be like quite a lot less pressure, because then you're not working with just one person, you're working with like
I think
3
it
or
would
4?
possibly be more.
Okay.
Depends on the band. I don't know, but like, I think it depends whether there's like one person's vision or whether there's like 4 that you're having to kind of bring together. But yeah, I guess in the world that I am in, which is mostly pop, it is mostly solo artists.
Yeah.
So yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's why maybe working with those sorts of acts kind of appeals to me.
Yes. I don't know. Yeah, the reason I say maybe it would be less pressure is from being, you know, working in the studio in a band, like being on that side.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not as kind of intense as 2 people.
Yeah.
Like you're all talking.
I guess the pressure's off a bit.
And yeah, it seems like it's less pressure, whereas when you're 2, it's like a lot more silent and there's just you both and you're kind of...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't know, yeah. Either. It depends on the band, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. What's the strangest thing you've been inspired by?
Inspired by?
And that could be like a voice note or
That's a good question.
snippet of... You know, sometimes when you're walking down the street and you hear a noise,
I
car beep or whatever.
sometimes overhear conversations.
Yes.
That's quite fun to do. Like, I actually don't often listen to music on public transport because I like listening to other people.
Yeah.
Just really creepy of me. But I find that quite inspiring. I don't know if that's weird. I guess it is a little bit weird because I'm just listening to other people's lives. Is there anything bizarre that I've taken inspiration from?
I guess that's quite bizarre. If someone says something like...
It is quite
just catch a
strange
little
to
bit
like
of
to a normal
conversation.
person. Imagine if that person found out on the tube that I'd overheard them talking to their friends.
And now a song exists.
And if
because
there's
of
ever
it.
like an intense conversation happening, like, you know, when you can tell,
Yeah.
like maybe there's like a couple having, I will literally move closer. To be like, oh,
What are you
this could
talking
be good.
about? I remember
there-
once when I was heading into a lift coming up from the tube, and this couple were having a really bad argument, like break-up argument, and there was so many people there, and they were just like ragging on each other. Like the man was like ragging on the woman really bad. I can't remember what they were saying, but it sounded like she cheated on him or something. And when you're in a lift, and they were going at it, and in this lift, tiny underground lift, everyone was literally like...
You'd think you'd just stop for like 5 minutes and then find a quiet place. Like,
I think it must have just sparked or just happened or something.
Amazing.
And there's that reaction. It was like the initial reaction. And everyone was like, oh my God, I want to disappear inside my own arsehole right now. This is terrible. I should have recorded it. I was,
oh my God.
It's too awkward.
Yeah. And you always you never want to look like you're listening in. But obviously if you're in the same lift, then you are. You're in.
I know. And you just put earbuds in your ears just for, even if nothing's attached. Just to get over it. I hate that. I hate that. Awkward situations, make me laugh, but I hate them at the same time. I can't be awkward. I just can't stand it.
I am awkward every day. So that is something I'm very used to.
But I feel like I am awkward sometimes too, but then you make it more awkward, and I can't stand that. You know what I mean? Oh, but anyway, it's a joy being awkward, socially awkward.
That is me.
Yeah, you know what? Something else that I think I've spoken about this before on this podcast, weirdly, but I remember when I was in my room at home, and my mum was downstairs on the computer, and she was watching this festival promo video for this music festival, and there was loads of guitar feedback, and I just remember being upstairs and hearing her playing that video, and the feedback made a chord at some point.
That's so sick.
And I was like, oh, that's quite a nice chord. And then I wrote a song around that.
Oh wow, that's a very
good
moment of inspiration. I love that.
Yeah, I find that I never do shit like that anymore though.
Yeah, I
it's
also
just sad.
write with other people. I basically only write with other people as well. So a lot of the time, the inspiration comes from the person that I'm working with, because I don't, especially as I'm not an artist, I don't really want to push my ideas on other people. Be like, hey, do you want to write about my feelings?
I think it's a big collaboration though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I'll obviously bring my own emotions and whatever, but I usually let an artist lead with their kind of seed.
Definitely.
Because I find that has a better chance of them actually using the song.
Yeah, it's about ownership as well, feeling that they have that ownership of it.
There has to be
meaningful.
A connection to what they're singing. So a lot of the time I will let the artist lead with what they want to write about, and then pile on with my own experience.
I think that's so great, being sitting in that role. Especially I feel like a lot of people you work with are probably solo artists, female pop solo artists, and and I don't mean this in a terrible way towards male producers, but there's something about having that shared view of the world.
There was a really interesting moment I had in a session last week where I was doing a songwriting camp, and it was 3 women, and the brief we got given was for a male artist. and the other people in the room were like, oh, well, how can we write from a male perspective? And I was like, yeah, we can, it's fine. Literally people do this all the time, but we didn't actually go for that brief in the end because we decided that we but there is the human experience. I do get that for a long time, especially for female pop artists, they've been handed songs that have not been written by them and maybe doesn't represent them. But ultimately, when you're talking about a lot of things, most people will relate. It's weird. The deeper you go into your own personal experience, it's the more it connects with other people.
Yeah, I think I think what I mean by that is like, if you're working with another female in a way, sometimes I'm way more comfortable in expressing
That's totally true.
deeper things.
Yeah, I think that's really true.
What? Leo
says,
did you write a lesbian anthem?
Oh,
I want to hear this lesbian anthem.
Because basically, Leo came into the session last week. We absolutely love this tune that we did. And she was like, I want to write a lesbian anthem. And I was like, is it okay that I am completely heterosexual? Like, is that okay for me to write that? And she was like, yeah, it's fine. So we did.
Yeah.
But I did. Now I have whole feelings of woke guilt. But I think it's fine.
Well, if you think about it,
it's an absolute banger.
You're just putting yourself into the shoes of someone else.
And most importantly, like that's what the artist identifies with. It would be different if I was singing that song.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's a banger.
It's a banger.
So it is. I'm really happy with that tune.
Yeah. I definitely feel that. I don't know whether I'm just going a bit mental these days, but even when you know that you're talking to someone who's female, sometimes I'm like I just communicate better. I don't know why. Like even it could be on email or it could be in conversation. Like I don't know why, but
I think to do what you do as an artist, like you have to feel like you can trust the people that you're working with, and I guess like there are certain levels that working with another woman they'll just understand. And
I feel like it's that
feel more open to telling them certain things, and
as I've gotten older, I've gotten way more of this viewpoint and feelings. I don't know why that is. Yeah.
I didn't, like, honestly, 90% of my sessions are with women, and I absolutely love that. Like, I think that's not like out of any particular strategic thing. I just kind of, that's how I've ended up working, and it's sick.
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to come across as like horrifically sexist or like belittling, but and I'm not that's not where this is coming from at all. Yeah, but I just feel I say that because I've noticed that about myself and about working in this industry.
That's really interesting. Yeah, something I notice is that a lot of the time the first session that I do with an artist, if they're a woman, is the first session will be like a song that they haven't felt they could write before.
That's interesting. Yeah,
they'll come in and they're like, "Oh, I've never written a song with like an all-women team before. I want to write a song about catcalling. I want to write a song about being a woman in the music industry." And then after that, we'll kind of go back to like writing whatever.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. Usually, the first song is kind of like influenced by
like
that.
Uber female. Uber, yeah. Superpowers. Yeah, it's so interesting, isn't it? Way interesting. So, what have you got coming up then?
Stuff's kind of winding down because it is the end of the year.
It's crimbo, isn't it? Yeah.
And I think the last of my releases that I've worked on have come out this year. So yeah, just kind of looking ahead to artist projects that I'm working on and like continuing their projects and so no big like headline stuff happening.
You just work
in the rest of the year. I have like so much stuff to finish.
Yeah,
before Christmas.
Before Christmas, yeah.
Giving me slight anxiety when I think about it, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
There's just like a long list of stuff that I still haven't got around to.
You're an absolute powerhouse, so don't worry. I've seen your work.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Actually, no, that is an unfair representation because when you came to study me, I said this. I was like, I have never been more focused in my life. Like,
and you got someone
there's somebody watching me work, so I'm gonna be not on
student.
Facebook like I normally am, even though I don't really use Facebook. But like somehow when I'm working my own, I just end up distracting myself.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
I do that massively too. Yeah, it's interesting. I think, was it you that said people have started kind of doing work online on Zoom with other people because they...
yeah, I've thought about doing that. There's a
Yeah.
whole, I don't know what it's called. There's like a website where you can like just connect with another person to hold each other accountable for an hour
Yes,
or whatever.
I think I need
However
that.
long. I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny how like the fear of someone else judging you is like what is my motivating factor to focus.
Yeah.
That's not good. I need
Yeah.
to make sure I'm like just doing that for myself. But
It's
anyway.
hard though. What do
Yeah.
you do when you feel like you've hit a wall?
usually just go for a walk, like
Yeah.
getting out of the space that I'm in really helps, because you can, I think going into a different space, even just like going to the toilet sometimes, especially if you're in a writing session or something, someone will always come back with an idea that they've had when they've gone to the toilet.
The toilet is a great place for creative.
It is.
Honestly, couldn't recommend it more. Yeah.
It's true.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank
Love
you
that.
so much. Yeah. And
Thank you for having me.
No probs. And I'm sure I'll see you soon at a gig or whatever. Yeah.
I'm just off to a gig actually after this.
Oh, who are you going to see?
I'm going to see someone called Darla Jade.
Ooh.
She's sick. Yeah, should be fun.
Cool.
Might be the last one with Omricon.
Oh, Omicron.
Have I said that right?
Have you seen the meme though with Nigella? And it's like,
Yes.
what's the latest wave? Omicron wave.
I
So
love it,
great.
Nigella. I watch Nigella now just to relax.
She's just
so
just the accent.
great.
Oh, thanks guys. Thank
you everyone for listening.
Thanks so much, and I'll see you very soon. Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
See you later. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe and follow to this podcast. I'm Natalie McCool, and you can find me and my music on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and also on my website nataliemccool.co.uk. Thanks!
You're a magnet.